Sergio Romo joins us now on Willard and Dibs. Let's go back to 2008, and he was called up by the San Francisco Giants. Take us through that day, Sergio. What were you doing?
Hey, Mark, man, it's good to talk to you guys. Good to be on air with you guys.
Good to have you.
I will venture to say today, playing a round of golf with Rich Aurelia, who was a veteran when I got called up to the big leagues. It was that nostalgic type of feeling, But I tell you what, being a guy in the minor leagues, getting a call to the big leagues, there's nothing better. There really isn't. I mean, I would venture to say, other than the birth of my son, that's probably one of the best phone calls I've ever gotten. And to be a part of an organization that's historic as the Giants, to begin my opportunity with them, I'll tell you what, it was everything I could have dreamed of and some, because if I had an opportunity to write it out the way it all played out, I would have sold myself short, that's for sure.
So wait, you weren't playing golf with Rich that day. You're playing golf with Rich today, right? Is that what you mean?
Today, yeah. Okay. Rich was part of the old scrambled teammate that I had today. We did well. We were 13 under as a group, including handicaps and all of that. And tell you what, it was a fun day, great day. A little bit of wind, but it was a very, very gorgeous day outside.
Wait, what course did you play, Sergio?
We were at Lake Merced Country Club. We had Larry Bear and his fellow country club mates. They held their annual charity tournament today, and I was fortunate enough to be invited. It's
almost like you know a couple people.
I know a couple people here and there. You know, I've been blessed with a lot of cool relationships and a lot of cool blessings. A lot of cool experiences. So today is just kind of keep adding on to that. Gorgeous day, gorgeous course around some awesome people. So couldn't be any better.
How's everybody feeling about the state of the Giants out there?
I'll tell you what, the state of the Giants right now, there's a lot of folks around here that tell me, hey, that there's a lot of energy coming from the young guys. And there's plenty of reason to buy into the young surge that's been kind of happening the last handful of days. So last week we'll give it. I really believe that this team is on the cusp of doing some really cool things. They've been bitten by the injury bug, but yet these young bucks, they're bringing a spark that it's hard to not smile at the production they've put out. This first week that they've really all been together.
What's it like to come up, and Mark was alluding to you in 2008, and you come up and you make an impact, and a couple of years later you guys are World Series champs, but when you come up, when do you realize that not only can you do it at this level, but you're going to be here to stay?
I mean, the cool part about it is when you have veterans like Benji Molina, Randy Wynn, Rich Aurelia, Dave Roberts, Aaron Rowan, guys who had been there and done that, and guys who together, if you add them together, there's a couple World Series rings there. There's plenty of All-Star appearances. When you come up in an organization like that where you have guys that are willing to help you out, guys that are willing to extend that arm and to show you the ropes, it tends to ease you into the process of becoming a big leaguer. And the hardest part, in my opinion, is to stay in the big leagues, not necessarily to make it to the big leagues. So to have veterans the way I was fortunate to have, where they showed me the ropes, they were supportive, they were extremely positive, and even those guys, they told us that we were about to do some really cool things. Even though they weren't necessarily a part of those cool things, they did tell us from the get-go that it was we were close to doing some real cool things, and we had potential to be great. And if you look at 2010, 12, and 14 with the mixture of youth and veteran leadership, we were pretty solid.
Sergio, pretty solid. It went
Decent
well.
Little club.
Yeah, Sergio Romo is with us here on 95.7 The Game. Willard and Dibs. Sergio, you talk about these young guys, and it feels like it's fun now, but we're headed toward difficult decisions. If these guys keep playing well, what do you do when Slater is back healthy, when Nick Ahmed is back healthy?
And when you add Mike Conforto, who's back healthy also, like you sit there and you go, man, there's guys who have proven themselves at the big league level time and time over again, that they have value, they have worth, they bring something to the table. It's going to be a very, very tough situation and a tough decision to make for the guys upstairs.
Hey, Sergio, did you just put us on like Bluetooth or something like that?
I mean, if you really look at the way the team was built entering the season, you sit there and go, okay, cool. If something were to happen, who's ready and who's willing and who has the ability to make an impact? And you look at the guys that are up there now making that same impact. There's Helio Ramos, there's Matos, even Luciano, who had a great series against the Rockies. You look at them and you go, man, okay, cool. They're providing the spark. They're providing some sense of identity of what this team can be. And it's hard to not jump on that bandwagon and support them because the production has been through the roof. The excitement, the energy, it's been felt, not just from us, bystanders, getting the opportunity to analyze these games and talk about them, but I'm talking from the fan base as well. There's plenty to be happy about. And it's a very, very tough situation to be made by, Farhan and those guys up top that once Conforto and once Slater comes back, I mean, it's hard to replace the spark that's really, really been giving you, the advantage on the team so far that you face since those young bucks has come up.
How tough is it for Luciano in particular to come up and have to play shortstop, not only replacing essentially Brandon Crawford, the legend who's been gone now all year, but day-to-day playing that position as a young 22-year-old?
I tell you, being given the task to put up the protection, at least defensively, compared to Brandon Crawford and Nick Ahmed, I mean, they have multiple gold gloves between the two of them. You look at what he's able to do, the potential that he has and what he's able to do offensively. You sit there and go, man, these last couple games, he's got an opportunity, a little bit of run in the big leagues. He's hitting the ball gap to gap, and he's provided a little bit of power on top of that. Not just singles hitter. The guy's putting the ball in the gap and he's getting doubles, and he's getting them in tough situations too. So, it's hard to not get excited for a guy like Luciano with the talent, with the ability that he does have, but it's also exciting to sit there and see the growth and what he's shown, because if you really look at it, not just with Luciano, but Matos and Helio Ramos as well, they have been in the big leagues before. They've gotten a taste of the big leagues before. I once saw a guy named Buster Posey come in 2009, and that month of September wasn't necessarily the most productive, but yet it seemed to prime him and ready him for the opportunity he got in 2010 to carry us to a World Series championship. So if you look at the opportunity that Ramos, Matos, and Luciano are getting now, and with the experience that they've had, a little bit of taste of the big leagues that they had prior, which was last year, earlier this year, you sit there and think, man, wow, okay, they have found a way to slow the game down. And if they can continue to slow the game down and play just their game, staying in their lane, their high and their low, understanding that they're high and their low of their game, staying in that lane, I mean, it's hard to not get excited because the ability is there, the talent is there. We've been seeing it for years in the minor league system. So it's kind of fitting that now once they're getting this full run in the big leagues, it's not surprising that they're actually producing them to a certain extent.
Sergio Romo with us on Willard and Dibs here, 95.7 The Game. Sergio, obviously your best success was with the Giants, but you put on 8 jerseys as a pro. How would you compare the way you get treated by your, quote, homegrown team's fan base versus anything that happens after that?
I have zero negative of anything negative to say of any fan base that I've ever been fortunate enough to play for. I was very blessed with a very supportive group, very supportive fan bases in every which way that I went. There was something about me that seemed to excite them, and something about me and my production and my ability to play this game that seemed to put them on my side. So a lot of the effort was to not let the fan base down. A lot of the effort was to continue to show them who I am, showing how thankful and appreciative I am the opportunity to show these people who I am and what I can do on the baseball field. So it's hard to compare anything to the Giants, though. I mean, we did some amazing things. We were able to win some World Series together and whatnot. So it's hard to say that any other place other than San Francisco for me in my career was better than San Francisco. I make my home in San Francisco, and I still get treated exceptionally well. Everywhere I go, I do get recognized, and I do get told that, how thankful and appreciative the fan base is for the experiences and the lifelong adventures that I would say that most of these families go through, especially having to wait 54 years before we were able to bring a World Series championship to San Francisco. So, again, San Francisco is my home. My wife is born and raised in San Francisco. the way we get treated here through and through, throughout, I'll tell you what, it is first class. It is top of the mountain, top notch. And again, San Francisco is my home, and I'm very, very thankful to be able to say that.
Sergio, it's a classy answer, but you do regret being a Dodger, right?
I can't sit there and say that I regret it. I will venture to say that I was that kid that had that dream that Vin Scully would say my name one time in that stadium. And he said it quite a few times as a visitor. And the fact that I was fortunate enough for him to say my name as a Dodger, giving my grandpa, my dad's dad, who was the one that, if there was someone that wanted to see me in it, that's why it's part of the reason why I didn't feel so bad and openly and honestly answering that question the way I just did. The fact that I grew up a Dodgers fan, I did root for Fernando Mania, I did root for Raul Mondesi, Eric Karros, Todd Hollandsworth. I did root for those guys. I really, really did. But another big reason why I was a big Dodgers fan was the fact that a hometown guy from Brawley, Rudy Cianez, a guy much before my time, he was also a Dodger. Wow. And when I got a chance to watch my first big league game, he was in the Dodgers uniform. So I take a lot of pride in being who I've been since I was a kid, and developing and growing into the person that I am now. Yes, I am Giants through and through. From the bottom of my heart, I am. I'm all Niners. I'm Warriors. I'm even got some love for the Kings down in Sac. You know what I'm saying? So, but I will venture to say that Bay Area is my home, and I backed them through and through.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HC1 San Francisco and Odyssey Sports Station, always live on the free Odyssey app, Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Upgrade your savings dividend. Open a First NorCal first-class money market today. Hey, Sergio, while you were out there with Larry Baer, did you go over to him and be like, how come I didn't get a light show when I came into the game?
Hey, I tell you what, I will venture to say that if they turned out the lights as I'm running into the mound, just like Duvall's been doing his last few outings, I will venture to say that once the lights were on, I'd be clean. The lights would turn off, and then they'd turn the lights back on, and I'd be the guy that would trip and fall and end up dirty as can be before I stepped on that mound. The light shows, I think it's great. I think it's great for baseball. It's entertaining. I think the fan base definitely likes it in all ballparks that have been doing this type of thing. But I think Duvall, his talent, his excitement, his energy, his ability to play this game, his ability to throw the baseball, I think it's just very fitting for guys like that to have an entrance like that. Why? Because they are exciting through and through. The guy can show up and save situations he's been throwing 100 into. How do you not get excited for a guy that can do that? And he is arguably the best closer in the big leagues right now in save situations. So it's hard. I can find it hard for a fan base to not get excited, not only for his entrance or when he's getting him into the game, but the way they're presenting him. The closers, I'm telling you, if I would have gotten that show, it ended up dirty as can be. But I think it's super cool for the game of baseball.
It's pretty awesome. Cool. Yeah, the theatrics have been fun, and he comes in throwing 100, and 100 miles an hour used to be special, but now it feels like every team's got multiple guys who can throw 100. Is it too hard to hit now, Sergio, with all the velo that these guys are pumping?
I mean, I think it was hard to hit in the big leagues, period. And then you had guys pumping as much as they're pumping now. Guys are literally sitting 97, touching 100, 101 every outing. Some guys like Duvall, I mean, they're sitting literally 100 miles an hour and climbing up to 102. I would imagine as a hitter, it's not the most comfortable at-bats. I was a guy who got 8 at-bats in the big leagues, one of the playoffs, and I faced a guy like Jonathan Broxton. And when I got an at-bat, he lifted his leg. As soon as he lifted his leg, I heard a pop in the glove, and I'm going, wow, I didn't see that thing. And it was 96 to 100, 97 to 100. Well, guys are, it seems like every guy is hitting that now. And it's impressive to watch the evolution of the game, the evolution of the human body that can produce that, not just one outing, 2 outings, but to provide that for a whole season and let alone the length of a full career. It's been impressive to watch. The evolution of the game, I don't know. With the evolution of, especially velocity-wise, I don't know how well I would have performed even at my peak at this level. I do know I had my slider that would set me apart from the average, from the rest, but that was during my time, not during the time nowadays. So, again, I would not want to be the hitter in the box. I mean, these guys are throwing a 97 to 100, 101, 102. They're throwing power sliders that are 90 to 93, 94. You guys are throwing splitters at 90, 93 miles an hour. The splinkers, what they're calling it. It's just impressive to watch how much the game has evolved and the talent level from the hitting standpoint to be able to keep up and catch up with the pitching.
Sergio, since you brought it up, I just looked it up. Do you know off the top of your head how many at-bats you had in your Major League career?
I'm going to say 7 in the regular season and 1 in the playoffs.
Okay,
I remember specifically the Jonathan Broxton at-bat in the playoffs. Just more so for the fact that I didn't see a pitch he threw at me, you know? And I think Hannigan was the catcher for the Cincinnati Reds at that point, and I just remember him. I can literally hear it right now as we're thinking about it. His giggle at me when the ball hit the glove, and I went, whoa, and he just started giggling, going, oh, this guy's got no chance, you know? So very fitting that I'm 0 for 7, 0 for 8, so to speak, when I got at bat in the big league. 0
for 7, but do you remember how many times you put the ball in play?
Well, I will venture to say that there was at least 4 at-bats where when I went in there, Bochy literally said, and Cash and my couple last at-bats in big leagues, they literally told me, do not swing, just stand up there and take. You know, so
don't swing.
I did just stand up there and I didn't swing, and I was just trying to follow the pitch all the way in, and I still struggled at that point. So let's just say that I became a pitcher for a pretty good reason.
Yep. Yeah, you nailed it. But it does look like you put it in play a couple times, twice in your Major League career.
I did, but I will venture to say that as I was running down first baseline, I was shaking both of my hands in despair, going, wow, that hurt.
Yeah. Perfect. Sergio, I hope you had a great day out there on the course. Thank you so much for ending your day with us. We appreciate it, man.
I had some solid moments. This was one of the most perfect ways that I could end my day, to end this sunny, glorious day that we've had here in San Francisco. And I'll tell you what, playing the course that I played today with the group that I played today, and then getting a chance to talk to Mr. Mark and Dan, you know what I'm saying? It was pretty cool. It was a great way to end it.
My goodness. That was a great way to end the conversation, too. Thank you, Sergio.
No, you guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys calling all the time.
All right. We will we'll call again.
Call
there
you
it
back,
is. Yeah, Sergio Romo. Let's book him again for